These are the top 10 cities where you can still buy a home for less than $100,000. These are cities where homes are still really affordable, even despite the record housing bubble that we're seeing right now. Now, there's a reason why some of those cities have really cheap homes. In this video, I will also tell you why these houses are so cheap. So, you are watching the Financial Coffee channel? Let's get into this. Alright, starting with our number 10 cheapest housing market in America, Youngstown, Ohio. Located in about 1 hour drive northwest of Pittsburgh and 1 hour drive southeast of Cleveland. So home prices in Youngstown are so cheap that you can afford to buy this nice 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for only $110,000. And the monthly payment is only $602. Now, the reason prices in Youngstown are so cheap is because it's one of the worst performing housing markets in America over the last 30 years. This city got absolutely crushed by population loss in the second half of the 20th century, with over 400,000 people living there today, which is about 50% lower than what it was in the 1990s. But on the bright side, things seem to be improving in Youngstown over the last couple of years. The pandemic actually brought a lot of remote workers in the area over the last 2 years, and for the first time since 1992, we have seen more people moving in this metro than people living in this metro, and that's a positive. However, our number 9 area where it's cheap to buy a house is not the place that has been struggling for population growth. This part of the country get plenty and plenty of people moving in, especially over the last 2 years. I am talking about the Texas border, especially the border town of Rio Grande, where the typical home value is $109,000, down almost 10% from 1 year ago. And also the border town of Brownsville, where the typical home value is $178,000, up over 9% from 1 year ago. These are some of the cheapest prices in America, despite price going up over the last year in Brownsville. Now, one of the main reasons of the price increase is Elon Musk. He built a space rocket launch facility in Brownsville for SpaceX, which has bring more jobs, more population growth to the region, and push up prices. However, the issue for this area in general, in the south of Texas, which is going to keep prices from going up more, is the fact that incomes are very, very low. The median household income in Rio Grande City is $42,000 a year, while the median household income in Brownsville is $43,000 a year. And home prices are even cheaper in our number 8 on this list. Peoria, Illinois is a city that is 2.5 hours away, southwest of Chicago. In Peoria, you can buy a 3-bed, 2-bath house on the market right now for only $95,000. And it will cost you less than $600 per month. It's a 2-story house and it's actually very nice. You could live in it right now. Peoria is cheap for a reason. It is another city that has seen a huge population loss over the last 10 to 20 years, mostly due to globalization and outsourcing of manufacturing jobs. The average home price is $117,000. The median income is $62,000, which means that the typical households will need only 2.5 years of gross income to buy the house in cash. For comparison, a typical household in LA needs 10 years of income to afford to buy the house in cash. Now, before you get too excited about buying a house in Peoria, you need to understand that it's in a big economic decline. It used to be the world headquarters of Caterpillar, a Fortune 100 company that makes construction equipment. But Caterpillar left in 2017 to move to Chicago, and then left again last year to move to Texas. Now, speaking of Texas, we have another Texas town in our cheapest city list at number 7. This city has a very weird name, but you will understand why in a moment. I am talking about the city of Texarkana. Now, if you don't know where Texarkana is, I don't blame you. But don't worry, I'm going to show you right now. It is located right on the Aransas Texas border. So half of the metro is in Arkansas and the other half is in Texas. So basically, it is located in 2 states, Texas and Arkansas, which explains the name. Now, the typical home price is about $160,000, but you can find a lot cheaper than that. Check this out. This 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house that is selling for $105,000, and it's not that bad looking. It's on a 9,000 square feet lot, and the monthly payment is less than $600 per month. What is cool about Texarkana is that since 1990, it's actually one of the few metros on this list where there are more people moving into the city than people living in the city. In 2021, it actually hit a record in migration with a net positive of 12,000 people moving in. To be honest with you, this is not a town that many of you want to move to, which is why houses are so cheap. It's kind of a go-between that the love of trucker and people moving from state to state drive through. Just my opinion. And our sixth cheapest housing market today is Binghamton in New York State. It's located about 3 hours and 45 minutes northwest of New York City. It's very cheap out there. And the average price of a home is $159,000. And you are actually able to buy a livable house for even cheaper than that. Look at this 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house on the market right now for only $112,000. It does not look bad. But, there is a but, I don't think many of you are excited to spend cold winters in upstate New York. Especially in a town like Binghamton, which is what I call a minor league baseball town. It's the type of Rose Bowl city in the Northeast and Midwest where the biggest attraction in town is the minor league baseball team. There are not many things to do in Binghamton, meaning that the price of home will stay cheap for a long time in the future. Now let's keep things moving, people. I can't wait to show you our number 1 cheapest housing market in America. You are not going to believe how cheap the prices are in our number 1 market. But first, let's start with our number 5 cheapest market, Albany. And by Albany, I don't mean Albany, New York. No, I mean Albany in the state of Georgia. Albany is located in the southern part of Georgia. So basically, in the middle of nowhere. And the typical home price is about $120,000. It's up 3% from last year. You can see that typical home prices have actually gone up over the last 6 years. But if you buy a house like this, in this market today, you are not going to see much appreciation over the next 10 years. Why? Because, according to the FBI, Albany, Georgia is one of the most infested crime metro in America. According to the same data, Albany, Georgia is in the 97th percentile of US metros, which is, of course, not good for home values. And that could be one of the reasons why its population has declined by 10% over the last 20 years. And so, while Albany might not be a great place to buy right now, I think our number 4 housing market could be a good place to buy, simply because it is one of the best cities for investors. Our number 4 cheapest housing market to buy in America is a little metro called Houma in Louisiana, which is located about 1 hour and 20 minutes southwest of New Orleans. And what makes Houma special is that it has a very high cap rate. It has a 11.5% cap rate, meaning that a real estate investor could buy a property in Houma and get probably around 11.5% return on their money cash year by year by renting it out. Of course, prices are cheap and returns are high in Houma, Louisiana for a reason. And that's because the city has lost people every year going back to 2017. Particularly in 2021 and 2022, when Houma got destroyed by Hurricane Ida and lost over 6,000 people in just 1 year. Now folks, are you ready for our top 3 cheapest housing market where you can see buy a house for less than $100,000? And they are in a different part of America. They are not so much in the south as they are closer to the Midwest. Particularly our number 3 cheapest housing market, Charleston. No, I'm not talking about Charleston, South Carolina. I'm referring to Charleston, West Virginia. Now, Charleston is the capital of West Virginia. It has been completely devastated by globalization and by the production of alternative energy sources. Because, as you know, Charleston and the rest of West Virginia runs off coal. As a matter of fact, 91% of West Virginia energy comes from coal production. And as a result, the local economy is not doing so great, which brings us to very cheap home prices. For instance, this house is on the market right now, 3-bedroom and 1-bathroom for only $89,000, which is amazingly very cheap. The house is nice looking, don't get me wrong. It will only cost you $426 per month. It is about the same for number 2 on the list, which is the city of Huntington in West Virginia. It is right next door to Charleston, less than 1 hour drive away. In our number 2 cheapest housing market, Huntington, West Virginia, things have changed fast. Globalization, along with the decline of manufacturing in America, Huntington's economy has gone downhill. The city lost nearly half of the population from 1950 to 2020, which is why you are able to buy this 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for less than $70,000, with monthly payment of only $329 per month. That's less than my home insurance. But really folks, all the cities on this list have been a joke in terms of how cheap they are, especially on number 1 on this list. Prices are cheap in this town because they have been crushed economically and demographically over the last 15 to 20 years. The city is called Danville. It's about 3-hour drive away south of Chicago. Its population has declined from 37,000 in 1990 to less than 29,000 in 2021, according to the Census Bureau. Declining population has made home prices so cheap that the typical home value in the city is less than $67,000. I mean, you can't do better than that. It's the most affordable city in America for its local home buyer. It's so affordable that you can get this 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for only $35,000. And for a monthly payment of only $438, a lot less than most car payments these days, the house is not that bad looking. Now to be clear, I'm not saying that you should buy a house in these cities, no. Unless you really want to live there. I just think that it's really amazing that home prices are still so cheap in some parts of America, especially given the fact that we are in a record housing bubble. And if you want to know why some car payment costs almost $1,000 a month these days, click on the video that appears on the screen right now. That is all for today. Thank you for watching the Financial Coffee channel, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.